What's the number one thing that you need in your D&D combat? Jump in, find out. Alright guys, here we are. The number one thing that you're not using in your D&D 5th edition campaign, or I guess in general, in any form of Dungeons and Dragons. This is a rule that is not talked about enough. Yeah, in my opinion, it's not anyway. Especially not in 5th edition. Alright. Shout out to Gilded Lotus. This is the number one right here. Can you guys see this good, plain and good? I'm kind of got an overhead light, so the shadow's kind of crap. However, morale. That's the number one change that you're going to bring to your game. That's going to change the way combat's ran. You're tired of combat slogs, all that stuff. Do this right here. I'll go ahead and read it out loud. It is only a couple paragraphs long. So basically, the gist of it is whenever you're fighting, some combatants may run away when a fight turns against them. Okay? So there's certain circumstances here, and these are examples, okay? But basically, the creature's surprised. Roll a morale check. Not always, sometimes. Maybe if they're kobolds, stuff like that, roll a morale check. Reduced to half its hit points or fewer for the first time in battle. Roll a morale check. I don't really like this last one. The creature has no way to harm the opposing side on its turn. I don't really like that much. Or a group of creatures. So this is individual creatures. A group of creatures may flee under the following circumstances. All the surprise, the leader is taken down. So when the leader's taken down, group morale check. The group has half its people. So they had 10, they're down to 5. Roll morale check. One that's not on here that I like to say is the first time they see one of their friends die. Roll morale check. Okay? So how you do that is they just decide to run. You roll a morale check. You don't give out the XP for the ones that run. I don't personally. Okay? But the other ones I do. To determine this, I don't like the morale rules in 5th edition as much as, say, basic or 1st edition or whatever variant you're playing. However, for a D20 game, these are okay. To determine whether a creature or group of fleas, make a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw for the creature or the group's leader. If the opposition is overwhelming, the saving throw is made with a disadvantage. Or you can decide if the save fails automatically. Ignore this last sentence. If you've learned nothing from me, even though I've only just started YouTubing, if you learn nothing from me, do not automatically decide that it fails. That's bullcrap. You don't do that. Sometimes, in real life, your fight or flight will kick in. And that's what this is. This is fight or flight. Literally fight or flight. 2 options. You're not going to automatically decide that for this creature. Do not do that. I will disown you and unsub if you do that. If a group's leader can't make the saving throw for whatever reason, have the creature with the next highest charisma score make the saving throw instead. That's just 5e-ism. I don't really, that's whatever. On a failed save, all right, we're up here. On a failed save, the affected creature or group flees the fastest way possible. If escape is impossible, the creature or group surrenders. If a creature or group surrenders is attacked while they're surrendered, it doesn't say that, but while they're surrendered, the battle might resume. It will resume. And it is unlikely that further attempts to flee or surrender will be made. That's the fight or flight. This way you do not automatically decide that. A failed saving throw, this last little part's not bad. A failed saving throw isn't always to the adventurer's benefit. For example, an ogre that flees from combat might put the rest of the dungeon on alert or run off with treasure that the characters had hoped to plunder. This rule, on page 273 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, is bigger, deserves a little bit more in-depth talking about than this. There's a lot to chew on here, but this is a bigger game changer than you even realize. To be completely honest, when I made the last video to rules that you are not using, for rules that you're not using and you're overlooking, this was the #1 rule that I wanted to talk about, but I forgot to put it in the video. I have no idea why. I just forgot to put it in the video. All right. Use this. I'm serious. If you don't use this, you're missing out. 5th edition, whatever edition, morale should be in there. Okay. And if you don't have a morale system in your game, it is easy as just doing a DC 10 check with a D20. I don't personally do it this way. I do the 2D6 way, but DC 10 this is fine. I've been using this for my solo plays, and this is fine. All right. One more rule that kind of ties in with morale, okay? Because I like to do morale for both sides. Say I have, say you're like cross-face DM. I've been using your hireling rules, and I don't know exactly how to adjudicate that. Well, here you go. They got rules for that in this book too. And this is why I also do not like when people say all you need is the player handbook and the monsters manual. No, you don't. You need the DM's guide. You need to read the freaking rules. All right, optional rule, loyalty. This is for your hirelings, okay? An NPC's loyalty score is the highest charisma score. Basically, this is how I'd run it. If you're going to run it like this. I don't like this personally, but this is by the book. Rules is written. Essentially, whoever hires them, what's their charisma score? The charisma score is 10. That's cool. You track your loyalty. If you are good, you give them treasure, whatever. You will increase their loyalty score by 1d4. But if you are bossing them around, commanding them into dangerous situations, you reduce the NPC scores by 2d4 if they're abused, misled, or endangered. So when that reaches 0, this NPC is no longer going to follow you. Okay? So you're like, go in there, rush into battle. They may or may not do that. They're going to roll 2d4. And if they roll 2d4 and it's 0, they're not rushing into battle for you anymore. Okay? So that's something to consider. Let me read this real quick here. Yeah, that's nothing. So this is something to look in. I don't really, like I said, I'm not huge on this, the way they got this ran. I personally would run loyalty like morale and do it the same on both sides. Okay? And then maybe add a D4 with the D20 roll and roll them together if you're doing something positive. Or maybe you're asking them to go into combat to kill themselves. So maybe you're asking them to go in to fight a beholder or something like that. You roll the D20, you add them, and then you roll 2D4 with the D20. You subtract the 2D4 off the D20 roll and do DC 10 check. However you want to. Rules is written as this. This is how you want to do it. Try this out, okay? And for whatever reason, okay, we were not taught with 5th edition to play this way. No one has ever heard about this. They know it's in here, but they've never used it. I don't know anybody that's ever used this, okay? So read the freaking rules. Use the rules. I have no idea why the Lost Mines of Phandelver, you're going up, you could have a party of 6 and you're going up against 4 goblins. I mean, I kind of get it, but at the same time, no morale checks. That's supposed to be a starter set. So it tells me they did not want to use this, or whatever reason. But they had to concede it, put it on page 273 in the Game Master's Guide in 5th edition. Anyway, thank you guys, and I'll be back again next week.
Thank you for watching.